At. At. JKR, where are you? You're invisible again.
I'm right behind you.
If I had a nickel for every time the, if I had a nickel for every time, the, words, reactive PNG source didn't hecking work properly, this week, there we go, I would have 2 nickels, which is entirely expected. It's not weird that it happened twice. It's entirely expected, given how many technical difficulties my streams have. Good evening, my darling batlings. Glad to see you here, Timo. Also, just to rub it in a little bit more, you misspelled Spyro.
But yeah, so, technical difficulties on an unexpected surprise. And by unexpected, I mean completely expected!
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, today is the 25th anniversary of Spyro the Dragon. And I figured what better time to kick off this project I've been wanting to do for a while. I call it the Spyro Project because I am not good at naming things. My intention is to, hopefully by the end of the year, stream full playthroughs of every mainline home console Spyro game. Because a lot of people, myself included, played the first 3 and just kind of fell off there. But there's like more stuff beyond that I haven't experienced, that I'm looking forward to seeing for the first time. Hey, Psionic X.
We didn't do anything yet.
So, yeah, without any further fanfare or waffle, although I do have some waffles in the freezer, and I just got some fresh, pure maple syrup to go with it.
Oh.
We are going to stop the admittedly, like, hot take, this Japanese theme for Sonic CD is better than Sonic Boom. I'm sorry. It fits the vibe of classic Sonic better. But yeah, we're going to stop that. Gonna be playing this on emulator just for the ease of sharing audio, but I haven't done any image enhancement settings to it, so I can keep everything as true to the original as possible.
Excellent.
And who knows? We may even take... Ah, Jesus, that's loud! Oh, fuck! Ow! Ah! Ow!
Can you hear me now? How about now? Now!
I'm making Cortex noises because it's too loud for me. Let's see, can we turn down? There we go. That's much more manageable. Jesus. Yeah. Somebody clip that, please. That was too perfect. And every now and then my Discord connection's going to drop out because Discord's been broken all week, and I'm not the only one experiencing this. Welcome back. Like I said, Discord's going to break every few minutes because shit's fucky, and they don't want to acknowledge that shit is fucky.
Of course not. Why would they?
And the game froze.
Lovely.
Okay, this time I won't jump scare myself. I think I know what the problem here is. Let's change that setting back to default.
See.
And now, there we go. JKR is going to have to settle for 30 FPS because my Nitro subscription ran out and I have $1.56 in the bank, so I can't renew it.
Of course.
Okay, now hopefully I won't. Yes, that is much better.
And
The
as if
memories.
I hate to burst your bubble, Arikado, but I can't hear the game audio.
Then let's try this the old-fashioned way. Can you hear it now?
Let's see. 1 second. Watch stream. I hear nothing yet, but we.
Yeah, because it's on a loading screen.
That explains it. Entering demo mode. Yes, I hear it now.
Okay, so now I know what saying to use for Duck Station going forward. Because I've never actually done a stream where I had a guest where I was using Duck Station. Permission to post the clip? Hell yes. So, Spyro the Dragon's actually a really important game for me because it's what made me get into gaming.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing advertisements for it way back in 1998. I was into dragons and fantasy stuff at the time. I didn't know what a PlayStation was or what a video game was, but I knew I wanted it. And so I got a PlayStation in summer of 1999 from my dad as a gift for passing what grade would I have been in at that time? I think like first grade. And
yeah, like first. I would say first. Judging by since you and I are about the same age, that would make sense. That would stand to reason.
And anyway, with that PlayStation, I got my very first video game that I could call my own. Disney's Tarzan. I wouldn't get Spyro for another few months.
He's ugly. Ugly? That does it!
I mean, what? This is all the setup you need, really.
Yeah, right.
Also, hi, Carlos Alazraqui, in your one-time playing Spyro. Carlos Alazraqui, who you might know as Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life, or Laszlo from Camp Laszlo. Thank you for releasing me, Spyro. Get used to hearing that. And you might also know him from Reno 911, where he played Garcia.
Find dragons first. That's all I can tell you.
So, like, as a kid, I didn't pay attention to any of the things that the dragons were trying to tell me. So I just kind of, like, bungled my way from beginning to end. Not understanding that it was a collect-a-thon where you needed to collect things in order to progress. This whole, the Artisan's Homeworld in particular is like a big thing to me because before I got Spyro, but after I got my PS1, I had 2 demo discs that both had Spyro demos on them. and they only had the Artisan's Homeworld and 2 levels each.
Where's Nasty Nork? I'll torch him.
Keep your horns on, Spyro.
Hi, Clancy Brown, who voices like half the dragons in this game.
Fly following you.
Yeah, right?
His name is Sparks, and he's helping and protecting you. Keep an eye on him.
Clancy Brown, you might know as the Great Uka Uka, or Dr. Neocortex, or, Mr. Krabs. And I think he was in Detroit Become Human as well. But I don't know, because I haven't played that game.
Yeah.
Because I only have a certain tolerance threshold for David Cage bullshit, and I feel like him trying to do his commentary on the measure of what makes a human is too much pretentiousness for me to handle. Like, I already had to see him try to do a murder mystery where the murder mystery inherently doesn't work because it relies on you not questioning how a big fat guy could fit into a tiny crawl space. Also, hot take here. I don't like the sound design in Spyro 1 compared to its sequels. It just lacks that oomph factor.
Yeah.
Like, the flame just sounds like really soft. There's a few punchy sound effects in this game, but in general, like, the music's not all that bassy. Sound effects lack a punch for most of it. But, it would get better going forward.
Yeah. I love
Also,
I don't like
the way that Spyro turns in this game. There's like he drifts more so than he turns, which makes some of the charging sequences a pain in the ass. But that's something that Spyro 2 would immediately improve on.
Yeah, first game syndrome at its finest.
I mean, at least this has aged more gracefully than Crash 1 has.
True.
Now, I actually broke out those old demo discs recently and tried them both out to see like if there were any differences in those builds. Because quite often back in those days, the demo builds they would send out were from like before a lot of major finishing touches had been put on the game. Whereas nowadays, it's basically the finished game, but you only get to play a chunk of it. As far as, like, AAA game demos go, I'm not counting, like, playable alphas and betas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or, like, indie game demos where they're more like proof of concept. And the one of them is kind of closer to being finished. But only gives you 3 levels to play in. Apart from the Artisan's Homeworld, of course. It gives you
Don't be afraid.
Town Square.
Going from high mountain peaks, plummeting into
Actually, no, only 2 levels. Artisan's Homeworld, Town Square, and Sunny Flight. Whereas the other demo on the other disc is clearly a much earlier build. Because it features some alternate audio takes, much choppier audio editing. Parts of the soundtrack are missing to the point where they didn't have the composition for the Artisan's Homeworld theme done yet, so it just plays the title theme. All of the dragons in the playable levels, of which there are once again 2, but this time it's Stonehill and Dark Hollow, are just represented by text boxes. So that's like a neat bit of old school game promotion that I really miss, where you could play games in an incomplete state before they came out instead of when they came out.
Yeah. I hate the I hate the concept of downloadable content these days. It's. Ugh.
Well, I'm not talking about downloadable content. I'm talking about releasing a game in a state where it's clearly not ready to be released and then patching it over the course of the rest of the year.
Okay, that too, yeah.
Because, like, DLC's kind of... It's on its way out in favor of, like, play-to-earn type stuff, for lack of a better term. You know, battle passes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because why make them pay once for a chunk of gameplay when you can force them to either spend hours grinding just to get a single new character, or make them pay real money to skip the grind?
Step on one of their platforms,
Right.
you're saving your
And make them do that every time that they want to skip the grind.
trouble. Not that you ever run into trouble, Spyro.
And that's the main reason why I haven't played the new Crash multiplayer game, Crash Team Rumble. Because it's like... First of all, I am not into the idea of multiplayer Crash. Second of all, it's a battle pass system and, like, seasonal content and stuff. I'm like, oh, great, so I have to be playing all the time to get all the content. I can't, like, miss a single fucking day because I want to do something else.
Right. Like, honestly, the only, like, multiplayer Crash game that I liked was Crash Bash.
Well,
that's
Crash
just because
Bash
of
had its own issues, too, because if you want to just sit down and play it like a party game, you can't unless you've already beaten the single-player mode. Because that's how you unlock the multiplayer minigames. Otherwise, you're stuck with just 4 minigames to start with. And, the only way to skip through, that initial having to play through the single-player game to get all the multiplayer minigames is if you have a European First Edition print of, Crash Bash, which lets you, input a cheat code to just unlock everything. Or if you have the Spyro 3, if you have Spyro Year of the Dragon, you can enter a cheat code that lets you play a demo build of Crash Bash, and then you can, like, use an exploit to play basically the entire finished game of Crash Bash, except a couple of visual assets are missing.
And I'm back. Thanks.
Welcome back.
No thanks to Discord.
Yeah. They need to get this shit sorted.
Yeah.
But they don't seem
Like,
to
it was-
acknowledge that. They don't seem to acknowledge that's even an issue that's happening.
Yeah.
Discord having outages all week and not noticing that's a problem on their end. Unity doing what
Yeah.
they're doing. It's not a good week for tech.
Nope.
Spyro!
Spyro! How about a hint on gliding?
For the longest glide, press the X button at the top of a jump, and try pressing the triangle button to drop down in mid-flight.
I always loved the delivery of that one dragon. I know which dragon you're waiting for, and it's not going to be for a while into this game.
Yeah.
A wise man once said, aim high in life, but watch out for flying boxes.
I love that line. Let's see. Oh, by the way, it's candy corn season for all you crayon eating psychopaths.
But the wax tastes delicious. I mean, you're trying to tell me that red flavored crayon isn't supposed to be cherry?
Stay strong.
And then say, the crazy one.
It's possible for two things to be true at once.
see.
Also, if you need context for like why Unity is making its anti-developer decisions that are just meant to line their own pockets when they're already making a lot of money, all you need to do is look at who their CEO is, find out that he used to be the CEO of EA during their Project $10 initiative, and also look into the fact that he was such an evil and corrupt executive during Suda51's one experience working with EA on Shadows of the Damned that he made him the villain of the next 2 No More Heroes games after that.
Oh, jeez.
Or a stand-in for him. Not John Riccatello, but Damon Riccatello. And, that also makes No More Heroes 3 the only game where you can beat the shit out of the former CEO of EA and current CEO of Unity in a Super Smash Bros. Style match that was officially approved by Nintendo.
Nice.
And it is so satisfying when you know, because, like, if you played Travis Strikes Again, a lot of the visual novel content and in-game documents that a lot of people skip over are basically Suda51 venting his frustration over trying to work with the Western games industry, and particularly EA. And, you know, I have massive respect for Suda51 as an auteur video game director in an era where we don't really have many video game auteur directors anymore.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he doesn't get to... a lot of times, he has to come to compromises over practicality of meeting deadlines versus the scope of his vision, and that leaves a lot of his more recent projects feeling kind of half-finished.
Yeah.
But at least what's there is still top tier.
Right.
The honeyed wax tastes delicious. I will not hear this blasphemy. I agree with you on that. I love candy corn.
Yeah.
Also, Dr. Pepper is the best soda. It's an intellectual mana potion for the chosen ones. Now, you may be saying, but it just tastes like barbecue water. And I'm like, yes, and barbecue tastes delicious.
Yes, barbecue does taste delicious. I will agree with you on that.
I live in a state that's known for its barbecue. Do not at me.
But now here's the question. Do you guys prefer charcoal or propane?
Really, like, there's not a statewide agreement on this. It's more so about, well, a lot of people use, charcoal due to it being more affordable for, like, middle to lower income families, which are kind of, prevalent here in North Carolina in a lot of places, because we're a very rural state.
Yeah.
But I prefer the taste of propane. Or, I say that like I'm eating propane straight out of the tank. I prefer the taste of stuff that's grilled using propane. Oh, nothing beats a wood-fired stove. Or a wood-fired grill.
Yeah.
But in terms of practicality, here in North Carolina, unless you live out in rural areas, you're not going to get access to a lot of firewood.
Let's see. Did you know, in the movie Interstellar, the water planet scenes were shot on Earth?
Did you know? Well, I got an interesting fun fact for you, too. And no, it's not about Vaporeon for once. Because I don't want to be too predictable. Did you know that if you took if you took an average person and you took out all of their veins and laid them end to end so they formed a straight line, the person would die.
Welcome
God damn it.
Begin exploring into that area with the
You're welcome for that fun fact.
R2 button to get a good look.
Oh, God fucking damn it.
See, I would be real good on a show like Jeopardy as long as they were asking absolutely useless information.
Yeah, right.
Like, nothing about, like, history or geopolitics or anything. Stuff like, what is the, stuff like,
Thanks, Spyro.
like, God, I can't even think of a good example.
Did you know that you get your longest glides by pressing X at the very top of your jump?
Like, I would be good on Jeopardy as long as I got to control what questions were asked, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
A lot of people tell me, like, oh, you know so much stuff, you would be great on Jeopardy. And I'm like, no, because all the stuff I know is stuff that they would never ask on Jeopardy.
Right.
What's the average flight capacity of a European European Sparrow? I don't know. I do know that the average flight speed of an unladen European swallow, on the other hand, is different than that of an unladen African swallow. I don't know about sparrows. The only sparrow I know anything about is Captain Jack Sparrow.
Did you see a man dressed in blue running around here? He's a thief!
He's a thief, and he stole a dragon egg.
Got to track him down and get that egg! Run! Run!
Run! I'm getting a little winded!
That's my second favorite character dragon in this game.
My favorite, apart from the flying boxes guy, is the one in the Beastmaker's homeworld that's like, Spyro, it's great to see you, but I've gotta go.
Yeah, right?
And, you know, apart from the ones that just reuse the same few voice clips of saying, thank you for releasing me.
Right.
That's actually one of the presentation changes they made in the Reignited trilogy that I think was for the better. Was taking all of those, like, generic thank you for releasing me dragons and giving them new dialogue.
Yeah. Even if it isn't exactly useful, it's at least something.
Yeah. Like, Spyro Reignited is, I think, it's what I would prefer for, video game remakes that strive to be faithful to the originals while updating them for modern audiences. Because it's like, you know, polish up some places that,
Thank you for releasing me.
you know, polish up some, like that. That guy right there, perfect example. Polish up some places that, you know, could use some polishing up in, but otherwise keep pretty much everything the same except, you know, overhaul the graphics.
Yeah.
Spyro Reignited still does have a few niggles with me that I don't particularly like. Like, a lot of the new voice direction isn't all that great.
Yeah.
And the fact that it breaks if you play it in 60 FPS on one particular level in Spyro 1. Which we'll see when we get to the Reignited trilogy. Okay, so I do have everything in this stage. There's no, like, completion meter, or, like, completion notification in Spyro 1 when you get everything in a level. You've just gotta know. Or, you know, check your guidebook.
You're right.
Someone modded Dante into Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Awesome. I saw someone modded Sonic in there on like day one. And I was happy to see somebody modded Travis Touchdown into there. Hey, Shadow Dragon, glad to see you here.
Hey, oh, Shadow Dragon.
Why come the accent?
What accent?
You said, Ayo, Shadow Dragon.
I didn't.
Yes, you did. Don't you gaslight
No, I
me
didn't.
now. I get enough of that. I get enough of that from myself.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, God.
Am I playing? I'm playing this on emulation just so it's easier to share the audio over Discord. But I could play it on original hardware if I wanted to. You can kind of tell that I'm playing this on emulation because it has a proper 4:3 aspect ratio with no overscan area. Whereas if you play it on PS3, it shows like... so like in order to get the more stable performance that the Spyro and Crash games are known for, Insomniac and Naughty Dog actually intentionally left the top and bottom scan lines of the image just solid black, so they don't use the entire 240p frame in order to render the graphics, which allows them to do detailed full 3D environments without many frame rate drops. But that doesn't look good on a lot of modern displays because due to a lot of modern TVs not having good overscan cropping features, you see that unused black area. Thankfully, if you have one of those high-end scalers like I've got, the RetroTink 5X Pro, you can crop out the overscan before it gets sent to the TV. The same thing also happens in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, where a large portion of the screen is just not used in the game render, which means that if you're playing on anything other than a CRT, which naturally cuts off the overscan area due to the inclusion of a bezel in the TV that naturally covers part of the screen, like on CRT, you wouldn't see... What the fuck? Hi, Lulu. So yeah, on a CRT, you wouldn't see those unused areas, but emulators and higher-end video scalers that allow you to crop out the overscan area make it so you can see the image as it was intended to be viewed by the developers. Now, there's also a lot of debate about, like, pixel-perfect scaling versus, pixel-perfect integer scaling versus, non-integer scaling. The way I prefer it is the main reason you would want to use integer pixel perfect scaling is to get the sharpest image you can without emulation. What I prefer, though, is since all these retro games were, yes, they were coded to run in that exact pixel aspect ratio, but they weren't meant to be displayed in that pixel aspect ratio because CRT TVs didn't have pixels as we know them. They instead just stretched the image depending on the size of the screen. Usually you would get a uniform, somewhat squarish picture, slightly offset with a shorter height versus its width. I prefer preserving the intended 4:3 aspect ratio over getting perfectly square pixels that results in the sharpest image, because it leaves a lot of unused space at the top and bottom of the screen a lot of times, or other times it just looks awkward on modern displays.
I'll pretend I understood everything you just said.
That's me going off in technobabble, basically.
That's fine.
Because I have invested hundreds of dollars over the years into getting the sharpest pictures I can out of my old consoles.
Fair enough.
Without emulation.
That's understandable.
But a quick flame. That should.
I'm actually looking forward to the next RetroTink scaler to come out, but I'm probably not going to get it because I don't think we have a recommended price for it yet from Mike Chi, the guy who makes it. But he said it's going to be on like the higher budget end versus the RetroTink 5X, which is still a $300, so that's still a lot.
Yeah.
But the next RetroTink scaler is going to scale up to 4K and have like all sorts of inputs that a lot of other scalers don't have, like HDMI input with HDMI out picture. So finally a good solution to upscaling like Xbox 360 and PS3 games. Have I ever played the Legend of Spyro series? I have not, but a friend of mine has generously lent me the entire series, so we'll be looking at those over the course of this retrospective.
Nice.
Okay, I got everything. Now, I have put some time into the first Legend of Spyro, and so far, I'm not all that impressed, but I'm sure it gets better from there. For the first installment's usually kind of rough in some areas.
Yeah.
Speaking of Armored Core 6 Psionic X, I retweeted this on Twitter. Somebody made a Armored Core that's modeled after Steve from Minecraft. So what was your question?
Oh, sorry. Did you know, in North America, only 1 in 500 possums are forklift certified?
Yes, I'm the one who told you that.
I forgot you told me that, okay? So sue me. I forget who told me what these days. Well, how about this? Did you know, before being cast for her first appearance as Rey in Episode 8, producers had considered casting Daisy Ridley in the role of Princess Leia in Episode 4, but opted out when they realized she hadn't actually been born yet.
I love that.
Gotcha.
Like, I knew it was going somewhere because obviously I know my Star Wars history. I know that they weren't thinking of casting Daisy Ridley in anything prior to The Force Awakens, but I wanted to see where the joke was going.
Yes.
So, fun fact, did you know that Spyro was originally not going to be called Spyro? Early in development, Insomniac's initial name for him was Pete.
Pete the Dragon. Huh.
Yes. They were cautioned away from it, thankfully, by Universal Interactive executives over concerns that might anger Disney because of their movie Pete's Dragon.
Yeah.
And yeah, after that, they went through a few more preliminary names before settling on Spyro. And thus, history was made.
Yep.
Also, Spyro was not originally going to be purple.
Oh?
He was going to be green, but they found that if he was green, he would blend in too much to the green grasslands that make up a lot of the game's environments. So, took a look at color wheel, saw that purple contrasts perfectly against green, and decided to make him purple so he would stand out well. And one more fun fact for you. Did you know that in terms of male humans and female Pokemon breeding, Vaporeon is by far the most compatible with humans?
Fuck off.
Now, the question is, who's the most compatible in terms of male Pokemon and female human breeding?
It's a good question. That's
We
a
may
good question.
be able to locate another energy emission from the Wado Womb. When we find that meteor, we'll find Dr. Wowie. My vote is on, you know, I could give a couple answers to this. It depends on how degenerate I want to get at, roughly 9:30 and, like, whatever fucking... About 10 o'clock at night. It depends on how degenerate I want to get at 10 o'clock at night. Because on the one hand, I could say, like, oh, something like a Machamp, or, you know, something vaguely humanoid like that, or Lucario,
Yeah.
or something like that. Or I could say Tentacruel.
Yeah, true.
Also, only level where the barrel roll comes in handy. Mr. Mime. Yeah, that's one. That's an option. He has Mr. in his name.
Yeah.
Fun fact, you know the Gen 8 Pokemon Rillaboom?
Yeah.
The final evolution of Thwackey? Or, no,
Right.
wait, Grookey. Grookey, then Thwackey, then Rillaboom.
Right.
I learned this from Radical Soda's review of Pokemon Shield. That Rillaboom actually has an interesting etymology to its name. Like a lot of Pokemon do, obviously. But
Right.
Rillaboom is derived from really scary man who follows you home at night, and boom. That's up there with that's up there with Radical Soda looking up what the name of the wise old man member of the Deadly Six from Sonic Lost World is, and finding that someone edited the wiki to say that his name is Master Zickin' My Ass.
Those devious henchmen in charge of the artisan world.
Bring him on. I think I smell a barbecue.
Oh no, it's this guy. I just realized what level you're in.
Any tricks up?
Yeah, Toasty.
Yep.
Toasty's
Sorry,
actually
I
the
was
sheep
writing-
Toasty's actually the sheep that was used in all the commercials that I saw for the game.
Makes sense.
And in the Reignited trilogy, they updated Toasty's model to look more like he did in the commercials by giving him ram horns.
Nice. Yeah, sorry.
Those
I wasn't
dogs
paying
gave me
attention for a few minutes. Sorry.
Those dogs gave me so much trouble as a kid, but now I know you could just barrel roll.
Yeah.
The only game
Yeah.
until the Reignited trilogy that had the barrel roll. Is this a barrel roll or an aileron roll? I don't know. I know that the barrel roll in Star Fox is actually an aileron roll, technically.
Is there a difference?
Yes, they're two different dodge techniques for fighter jets.
I did not know that.
Like, a barrel roll involves going in a spiral pattern to the side, whereas an aileron roll is just spinning in place.
Hmm. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I wasn't paying attention for a few minutes because I was writing an email to somebody. I'm selling these cast iron weights, just to kind of get rid of them, and someone said they were interested in some of the stuff that I've got to sell. So, yay, he wants to meet up tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just, if you see any Craigslist ads for, looking for a partner for time travel, safety not guaranteed, be wary of those.
I mean, that's nothing. I put up frickin' Craigslist ads saying I was looking for henchmen. Just call 1-800-WAHAHA.
Now, is there a difference between 1-800-WAHAHA and 1-800-WAH?
Well, that depends. Because here's the thing. We here at JKR Productions, we supply everyone with the right villain that they need for the right situation. Ow!
How many times do I have to tell you not to hurt yourself?
Welcome to Peacekeepers.
You're gonna have to tell me every single fucking time it's never gonna stop.
Don't hurt yourself.
Spyro.
I'm such a klutz, dude. You know this. Oh, God.
Okay, if Wahaha has too many digits or too few, one of the two, how about 55555585555 Senor Mortgage today. No probalo.
Oh, God. I love the death sounds that these Norks make when they die.
Yep. One of the reasons that I don't like the sound direction of Spyro Reignited is they took out a lot of these great sounds.
Yeah. Meh. Oh.
Also, the Norks in the Peacekeeper's homeworld demonstrate a bit of interaction with each other that you don't get to see a lot in the rest of the game. But
Oh yeah.
was actually
They're
an
just talking
intentional
to each
thing.
other.
Like you can, like the ones that are manning the cannons, you can see them shooting the same cannonball back and forth between each other.
Yeah,
If you
I've
just
noticed
let them
that.
sit there.
Hi, Spyro. Sparks the Dragonfly has been doing a good job protecting you. Makes
Okay, but Magnus, tell me, do you have time for this right now?
No, it's not. It's not that. Can you deal with this right now?
Sorry. I'm a G1 scrub because the only thing I've really extensively watched is the '86 movie.
It's fine. I mean, yeah.
Because unlike a lot of Transformers fans, I do not think that G1 is the end-all be-all of the series.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely not.
Beast Wars is subjectively superior.
Yeah, better storytelling, more, you know, more, overarching story plots too, instead of just scheme of the week. And more,
it had Scott McNeil as like half of the cast, and Scott McNeil
true.
is a treasure.
Oh yeah. But also the fact is that Beast Wars Megatron, and technically Beast Machines Megatron, was, he was actually more threatening than G1.
Yep. Also, I can't take as much as I love my boy, the God, Frank Welker. I don't like his Galvatron voice because it just sounds like an angry Fred from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Now I want to see someone take Fred from Scooby-Doo line scenes from like the original 60s series and overdub it with Galvatron audio. Scooby Rage mods.
Well done, Spyro! Keep up the good work, and I know you'll fulfill your destiny.
Destiny? I just want to kick some...
Just toast those and
Let Spyro say ass. Let Spyro say ass in the next game. You already let Dingo Dial say bastard and bollocks.
Also, excuse me, Lord Megatron, but I said what I said.
Why are you arguing with yourself?
Because I can.
Nice choice going with the old school version, not the remaster. My whole idea is to play through the entire mainline series by the end of the year, ending off with the remaster. Which means I'll be skipping the handheld entries because I have a low tolerance for handheld attempts, like Game Boy Advance attempts at doing 3D games. And I also had one of those games as a kid, and I hated it. I had Attack of the Rhinox as a kid, and I didn't like it because it didn't feel like I was progressing towards anything. And then by the time I beat it, I was like, wait, that's it?
Oh, jeez. Also, to add on to my answer to your question about arguing with myself, Megatron started it, so...
You having fun there?
Oh, God.
So, I was watching this documentary series recently on the history of Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. I would highly check it out. It's called The Merry History of Looney Tunes.
Thank you for releasing me.
So,
Thank you for releasing me.
So Megatron and JK are one and the same? Yep, always have been.
Always will be.
But, yeah, I've been watching this documentary on the history of Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies. And I've learned a lot of interesting things from it. Like, did you know that Chuck Jones, who was, like, the primary Looney Tunes guy for most of the latter part of the 30s, as well as the entirety of the 40s and the beginning of the 50s. Did you know that he had a list of rules for what made the ideally perfect Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cartoon? And as a matter of fact, it was a pretty extensive list. There were 34 of them, in fact. Just look up Wile E. Coyote Rule 34 for more information.
I'm not doing that.
In all seriousness, he did have a list of rules, but it was only like 10 or 11.
Oh, okay.
And he often broke a lot of those rules, but he still tried to adhere to them as much as possible.
Spyro.
Like, one of them is that, one of the big ones is that, Wile E. Coyote's undoing should always be through his own over-reliance on Acme gadgets and never through direct intervention from the Roadrunner.
Yes.
Also, the Roadrunner should never be seen off the road, because if he's not on the road, then he is no longer a Roadrunner.
You're technically correct. The best
kind of correct. Also, I found out that, technically this is a Merry Melody instead of a Looney Tune, but, my favorite, Warner Brothers classic short, The Dover Boys, was actually a protest against, the enforced art style that everyone had to do at the time. And The Dover Boys, like, it's not just a hilarious short on its own. It's actually a piece of animation history that served as the inspiration for what we now call limited animation. Like, you've seen The Dover Boys before. I've shown it to you. You need to watch it on stream sometime. It's a classic, and it's public domain.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the entire idea of The Dover Boys is that Chuck Jones was getting fed up with the mandates from a studio executive at the time, Leon Schlesinger, that they had to have, like, realistic and highly detailed models in animation for everything so they could be seen as worthy competitors to Disney.
Okay.
Chuck Jones decided to make The Dover Boys in protest, where the entire idea was to have everything be very stiff with very jarring and abrupt changes from pose to pose with little to no through line besides smears of color, which led to the creation of smear frames, which are commonly used in television animation, especially today.
Oh, wow.
You can especially see it in the scene where Dan Backslide, coward, bully, cat, and thief, is prying Dora what's her name? Dora Standpipe off of the tree when she's clung onto the tree playing hide and seek. You can see just like smears of color as he goes back and forth between the tree and the car. Have I ever seen Lunatics Unleashed? I have seen one episode of it, and it was so unmemorable that I can't remember which one it was.
I grew up, well, didn't grow up watching it, but when it was on the air, I watched it a lot. But, you know, the problem was that over time, it was like I had other things to do on Saturdays. Like, I had tennis classes on Saturday mornings from like 6 to 10. And yeah, I didn't get a chance to really watch some of the episodes that were airing, so
You didn't miss much. Warner Brothers is ashamed of it now.
Like, honestly, I look back on it somewhat fondly. I think it's okay. It's not great.
It's by far not the worst thing that's come out of Warner Brothers, as we've seen in this year alone. But it didn't need to exist in the first place. It's like, it's a waste of effort for something that nobody wanted.
Yeah.
Like, you can even see them, showing images of, the redesigned cast to, like, some kids out on the street. And, there's this one famous clip of that where, like, they show Ace Bunny to, this little kid, and he says, "That's an evil Bugs Bunny."
Stuck here forever with those ugly vultures standing on my head. Those birds might look tough, but they're pretty tasty. Flame broiled, with a pinch of salt.
Damn it, you're making me hungry now. But yeah, Dover Boys was, like, the inspiration for the limited animation style, because it was, a deliberate rebellion against everything having to be smoothly and fluidly animated to compete with Disney. And that would be further refined by UPA in the 1950s, and became the standard for lower budget animation that would carry over into all sorts of mediums, including anime.
Dear rich Doris Standpipe, how
I love her! Father's money.
Father's money.
Fun fact, that's also, that and Sylvester are the closest to Mel Blanc's natural speaking voice that he ever did on, any of his, cartoon voices.
Wait, Dan Backslide was voiced by Mel Blanc?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
And, like, according to people that knew Mel Blanc at the time, Dan Backslide was basically just his normal speaking voice, but if he was constantly screaming. I hate Tom! I hate Dick! And I hate Larry! They drive me to drink! Confound them! Found them! Seriously, the Dover Boys, every single line in that short is quotable in some form.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you haven't been thrashed enough yet, eh? Stand up and fight, you coward, bully, cat, and thief! To Mrs. Tom, Dick, and Larry, Mrs. Tom, Dick, and Larry, Cara Wayward Tavern, Upper Bottleneck, New York. Doris Standpipe says, quote, "Oh." 35 cents collect. Now, what I'm thinking about I might do as like a bonus for this retrospective is after we clear all the mainline games, I may check out the Japanese versions of Spyro 1 and 2. Because they do make some significant changes that led to Spyro never catching on in Japan. To the point where they only got Spyro 1 and 2. They didn't get any of the others until the Reignited trilogy. I'm surprised that there were... I just read your message about shadowing out a library, Shadow Dragon. I'm surprised that there were any home media releases of Lunatics Unleashed. Because that show, it got 2 seasons, but no one watched either of them. It genuinely seems like one of those shows that would just kind of be stuck to, like, TV recordings of the era. Or maybe if someone can, you know, sneak out a copy of the Masters, then, you know, rip the Masters and upload them online.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't fathom Lunatics Unleashed getting home media releases. Also, you'll be I do know one interesting piece of trivia about Lunatics Unleashed creation. And that's that in the early stages of Lunatics Unleashed, Ace Bunny was originally going to be called Buzz Bunny, you know, so it's a closer connection to the Bugs Bunny name. But part of the reason they changed that was because there was actually a line of sex toys called Buzz Bunny.
Oh, jeez.
And, yeah, that led to them changing it to Ace. Lolo Rabbit was problematic enough as she was, yeah. That's the same reason why I had a discussion about this with my friend Lulu the other night about Minerva Mink from Animaniacs. She only got 2 shorts because network censors deemed her too provocative for the show. And in subsequent broadcasts of episodes that featured those shorts, they had to digitally erase her cleavage.
Of course.
They gave her the 4 Kids Rouge the Bat treatment, where she has a uniboob instead of 2 separate mommy milkers.
Yeah, like, honestly, I will admit, when I was younger, I actually did have I wouldn't really know if this was like a crush or just like, you know, I just had a thing for her, but Lexi Bunny, in my opinion, at the time, was cute. I actually liked her.
I'm trying to remember who Lexi Bunny was.
Lexi Bunny was basically, she was the pink rabbit in the group.
Okay. In Lunatics Unleashed.
In Lunatics Unleashed, yeah. She was the Lola Bunny version. She was the superhero version of Lola Bunny, basically.
4 Kids My Valentine suffered that as well, yeah. Yeah, I kind of do and don't miss 4 Kids at the same time. But at the very least, we're starting to get uncensored box sets of some of their dubs now. They still haven't done it with Yu-Gi-Oh! But Shaman King is releasing in an uncensored format.
Oh, nice. It's been a long time since I've seen anything related to Shaman King outside the theme song.
This is also the only home media release that the 4 Kids Shaman King dub has gotten outside of a very short-lived, uncensored DVD series that they did for a little bit and then very quickly pulled, where they would release, like, packs of, like, 2 or 3 episodes on DVDs that were visually uncensored and had slightly different audio. Like, they did that for Yu-Gi-Oh! They did that for Shaman King. They wanted to do that for One Piece, but the uncensored DVD sets sold so poorly that they ended up not doing that for One Piece until Funimation took over the dubbing.
Yeah. I don't know what she's barking at, but she's gonna keep barking until she finally decides to stop.
They did a redo on the manga recently. I'm not surprised. One of the things that was shocking to me to find out in later years was that Shaman King actually ended on a cliffhanger that wasn't resolved for another, like, 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, he fell in the purple drank. But yeah, this level gives one of the best views at a piece of tech that Spyro revolutionized, or pioneered, you could say, would be the more accurate term. That is very commonplace in games nowadays. where like you see off in the distance, everything is rendered with lower amounts of polygons and lower amounts of detail on the textures. But as you get closer, the poly count and detail level starts to increase. Nowadays, we call that level of detail. But Spyro basically pioneered this. And they made it in a way like you can see here. You can spot where the gems are on the complete opposite side of the map, just from their sparkle. It was a way, like, this was in an era where it was just impressive to be able to do a fully 3D game that maintained a stable 30 FPS. And while Spyro 1 does dip in a few points, it still mostly maintains a stable 30 FPS. So stuff like level of detail, or the previously mentioned thing where they don't render the top and bottom parts of the frame and then expect that to be cut off in the overscan area of a TV, were workarounds that were very commonly used at the time. Either that or using sort of pseudo 3D elements where they're actually pre-rendered 2D sprites displayed as 3D objects. Super Mario 64 makes a lot of use of that for spherical objects.
You've reached the highest point in Clifftown. You can get to almost anywhere from here. If I were you, I'd use that.
And in fact, as another going to Super Mario 64, even though I don't have much experience with that game, I do know that the way they did Mario's model was actually done so it would be the least resource-intensive way they could as possible. So instead of, like, box modeling the model from scratch, like you normally would do in a 3D game, they just made up his model out of a bunch of sphere primitives that were just kind of squashed and stretched into their approximate shapes to make up his body and outfit. That's also why if you look at the Mario model and, like, split it from Super Mario 64 and split it right down the middle, it's not perfectly symmetrical. I feel like if I ever managed to build up some sort of notoriety for myself, I would be a good guest to have on, like, Did You Know Gaming as a guest host. Just because of the amount of useless gaming trivia that I have. For, like, the behind-the-scenes... What?
Snackies!
I could use a snack right about now, but I'm all out of snacks. All I've got is spaghetti and ravioli. And chicken nuggets.
Hot your spaghetti?
I haven't cooked the spaghetti. Oh, and I got ramen, too.
Ah, nice. Yeah, all I got here is apple and 2 granola.
You know, there's actually a... there's this movie I want to watch sometime as, like, a watch-along party for a stream called Samurai Cop. It's one of those, like, so bad it's good movies. I've seen one clip of it where the titular samurai cop is, like, someone asks him what katana means. And he says, it means Japanese sword. Which, you know, that is not what katana means in Japanese. It is Japanese for sword.
Yeah.
But like, there was a comment on that clip that lives rent-free in my head, where it's like, Samurai Cop, what does ramen mean? It means Japanese spaghetti. If anything, ramen is closer to chicken noodle soup than it is to spaghetti.
True.
Because you're supposed to serve it in broth. You don't serve spaghetti in broth.
No.
The Italian in me is going like, gabagoo. The 0.2% Italian in me is saying that. But hey, that still means that my opinions on pizza are 0.2% more valid.
A word of caution, everyone. Wait until you grow big. Like me.
Like me.
Before charging those large enemies.
But yeah, you've had Chicago-style pizza, dude. You admit
Yes,
it.
yes,
It is
I
good.
have. It's good. It's just not pizza. Chicago-style pizza is not what I would call a traditional pizza. It's a variant of pizza.
Yes.
You know, like you know, like how the fucking square pizza, which is an abomination because pizza is supposed to be cut into triangular slices that are of even size and shape out of a circular pan. Serving it in a square shape makes the distribution haphazard at best. Oh, I agree, Shadow Dragon. My stance on like modern day video game remakes is that they should ideally supplement a release or inclusion of the original versions. So we're not treating, you know, these 20, 30-year-old games as, you know, disposable because one with better graphics and more efficient controls is out. It's why I'll never say, like, oh, these versions make the original obsolete, because that's acting as though all the hard work that went into creating the original doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
And I have yet to see a remake that 100% makes the original obsolete. There's always something that's lost in translation, lost in the transition.
Yeah.
That's actually why I prefer Capcom's approach to remakes, where they basically make an entirely different game with the same general premise. Rather than just taking the original and giving it a graphical and audio overhaul.
Yeah.
And tweaking, like, balance and gameplay and controls and stuff to better fit modern sensibilities.
Thank you for releasing me.
So I got another interesting bit of Looney Tunes historical trivia for you that I learned from that documentary series, which you should totally check out. It's on YouTube for free. It's called The Merry History of Looney Tunes. And it's from Kyoto Video. Well, Kyoto Video's the name of, like, a larger series, but the YouTuber that uploaded it is Kaiser Beams. That's what his name is. when the Tasmanian Devil debuted, the Warner Brothers animation producer at the time. You know, you say this when I'm out of pizza. Why do you torment me so? But yeah, when the Tasmanian Devil debuted, I'm trying to remember what the name of the producer at the time was. It was Eddie something. It was like Eddie Seltzer or something. But he was like constantly getting in the way of the more creative types over, like, the people that actually make the cartoons. He was constantly getting in their way. And he actually hated the Tasmanian Devil and mandated that after his debut, he was never to appear again. Because he personally hated the character. Until... because he had terrible taste. He was just kind of a rotten person in general. Like, you can find some... Like, the documentary supplements a lot of its discussion with some like, illustrations that the people at Warner Brothers Animation at the time did in their spare time that sort of comment on the state of, like, studio politics going on whenever something's happening. But he got a direct call from Jack Warner, CEO of Warner Brothers, saying, "Why aren't you putting that Tasmanian Devil in more cartoons? People love him." And that lifted the embargo on the Tasmanian Devil almost immediately.
You've done well, Spyro. Some dragons thought you weren't ready, but I knew they were wrong.
I'm ready, all right. Ready for what?
Eddie Seltzer, yeah. Yeah, Eddie Seltzer. Like, basically the good producer they had was Leon Schlesinger, and then the bad producer they had was Eddie Seltzer. And then, for the last few years of Looney Tunes throughout the 60s, most of it was actually outsourced to other studios and then overseen by, Fritz Freeling and David DePatie, who you might know for DePatie Freeling Studios, the company that oversaw the production of the original 80s versions of G.I. Joe and Transformers. So yes, there is a direct line between Looney Tunes and Transformers. In that Fritz Freeling was a director for a lot of the classic Looney Tunes shorts before he went off to form his own studio. In fact, he was the longest-lasting director they had, because he had been an on and off member of Warner Brothers ever since the animation department's founding, after he parted ways with Walt Disney. And as the documentary so perfectly encapsulates it, the popularity of the Tasmanian Devil proved that Mel Blanc could just grunt and yell into a microphone and audiences would eat it up.
What's in the box?
Hopefully it's not Gwyneth Paltrow's head. I've seen what she puts in other parts of her body. I don't want to know what she puts in her head. So, fun fact I learned from, speaking of, anyone looking forward to the Nintendo Direct or State of Play, I try not to look forward to those too much, because, like, a lot of people expect, like, you know, banger announcements every single moment of a Nintendo Direct or a State of Play, and I'm like, look at the way these actually play out. They're mostly filler. With, like, one big announcement at the end. Like, whenever I see, like, you know, oh, leaked lineup for the Nintendo Direct presentation, I'm always like, I can tell this is fake because it actually looks interesting the whole way through, instead of saving the good stuff for the end. But also, another one of the interesting, this is more cursed facts about Looney Tunes, is that technically Looney Tunes beat Daddy Derek to the punch when it came to creating Cool Cat.
How so?
In the 1960s, there was, due to like a screwy contract with Warner Brothers, DePatie Freleng Enterprises did not actually own any of the creators that Fritz Freleng had created during his tenure at Warner Brothers Animation, which included a lot of the classic Looney Tunes cast. So they were incentivized to like phase out the old cast and start producing cartoons using new characters. And the one that they banked on being their big new star was a character named Cool Cat. Who was a orange cat who was kind of like a beatnik. Other characters from that era include the duo of Bunny and Claude, who were just rabbit versions of Bonnie and Clyde, who instead of robbing banks, robbed carrot patches. And there was like one more that I can't remember the name of, who was like a magician mouse.
Card on me.
X card on me. Karaginen, Montel John, can you detect me to the nearest bus stamp? Like, when it comes to Homestar Runner and Sonora Card Gauge in particular, I love seeing characters interact with Sonora Card Gauge and try to figure out what he's saying.
Yeah, right.
One of my favorites being when Strong Sad is talking to him, because Strong Sad's actually somewhat creeped out by Sonora Card Gauge.
Oh, jeez.
And it's in the Strong Bad email that's about garage sales. Basically Sonora Card Gauge, in his own unique way, is asking Strong Sad to buy a can of peas for him that's on sale at the garage sale. And after Sonora Card Gauge leaves, because Strong Sad's not answering him directly and Strong Sad's just kind of lurking, like Strong Sad says, I feel like I need a chemical shower after talking to that guy. Do you have an emergency eye wash station? But I love the way that Sonora Card Gauge phrased, asking Strong Sad to buy something at the garage sale for him. He's like, look at this can of peas, Belinda. If you help me buy it, won't you help me buy it for you? So he's like, no, it's not for me. It's for you. I just need you to pay for it.
Yeah. I gotta wonder, was Sonora Card Gauge ever like, Homestar Runner lore and everything? Do you think he ever would have been able to actually talk like a normal person?
Apparently, he's just been like that their whole lives, because in his debut episode, Strong Bad Email, Kind of Cool, they reveal that, Strong Sad reveals that they've known Sonora Card Gauge since they were kids. And he's been that way the whole time. He was the creepy old man who lived in... He was the creepy old man who lived in a bush and carried around an Aldi bag full of melty candy bars. And talked using phrases that were almost one word and not quite another.
Right.
And would refer to you as a girl even if you were a dude. Probably my favorite greeting that he ever gave to anyone was in the Decemberween special, a Decemberween mackerel, which focuses on Sonor Card Gauge. Where Homestar and Marzipan stop by his bush to give him a bean sprout and lentil salad. Because they're trying to give to the needy. And like they pretend to so assuming femboy then pretty much. But they knock on his quote-unquote door, you could say, I guess. Would you call... He lives in a bush. Would you say that you can knock on his door? And he just rises out of the ground from behind the bush like he's coming up on an elevator, accompanied by the sound of traffic. And he's facing away from them, so he doesn't see who's there. And he says, "Hello, Chi Min."
I somewhat remember this, actually. I vaguely recall seeing this, because I think you showed it to me.
And then, when Marzipan starts talking to him and he doesn't realize that he's facing the wrong way, he says, "Is this a Frank call?"
Yeah. Like, you know, what cracks me up is, like, you could actually consider Sonor Card Gauge, like, basically, like, he lives underground. Have the bushes to be like the thing that hides the hole he comes out of.
Yeah, you could. We never see what's behind that bush.
Right? So he's kind of like Bugs Bunny in a way, if you think about it.
We also know that he uses a steak sandwich as a computer.
Which, how the fuck does that fucking work?
Like, I don't know what the set... I don't know how he got to using a steak sandwich as a computer. But, it was like them acknowledging that, they had gone years at that point without a new Strong Bad email.
Yeah.
Because it was during the, Great Homestar Runner hiatus, where, the Brothers chaps were kind of burnt out on making Homestar Runner content and were preoccupied with working in the television industry at the time. Like,
what am I fighting
for? Ouch!
But they like for example, Matt Chapman worked on Yo Gabba Gabba, while both Matt and Mike also worked on, like, the Aquabats show, Gravity Falls, all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Gravity Falls is awesome. I love Gravity Falls.
And they actually threw in a couple references to shows that they worked on in some of the Halloween tunes. Because there's one year where, like, in the Halloween tunes, you know, they all dress up as different pop culture characters, right?
Yeah.
There was one year where Coach Z dressed up as the host of Yo Gabba Gabba. And there was another year where Bubs dressed up as Grunkle Stan.
Nice.
But yeah, they when they came back with the first new Strong Bad email in, I think it was like 5 years, Strong Bad was in need of a new computer, and he had bought a steak sandwich thinking it was a computer. And then Sonor Card Gauge just shows up from behind him, unannounced, and says, "No, this steak sandwich is Beverly Clearly, my computer, Bathsheba." And, you know, Strong Bad being the Sonor Card Gauge fan that he is. Yes, I'll hydrate.
Hydrate, you bastard, hydrate!
Being the Sonor Card Gauge fanboy that he is, asks Sonor Card Gauge if he'd like to assist in him coming out of e-tirement. And, Sonor Card Gauge just says, no. And then he turns away from Strong Bad and starts walking in place while sounds of traffic play. And that's enough to actually scare Strong Bad a bit. Because it's not like, your dog Walker pretending to walk in place. Like, no, he has no friction. It's a walk cycle, but he is not moving.
Yeah.
He fascinates me, just like Hamsar fascinates me. Although Hamsar, at the very least, we do know that he's speaking his native language.
Yes.
Exactly, you don't question how things work in Homestar Runner, you just accept it. Like, why does Strong Bad keep using horrifically out-of-date computers?
Fair enough.
Like, the first computer that he answered emails on for, the first, first couple dozen emails was a Tandy computer from the 1980s that had a monochrome green phosphorescent display. And then he upgraded from that to a IBM 386 machine from basically to an original to like a mid 80s early 90s IBM PC that only displayed in monochrome. And then he upgraded from that to a very early laptop. That, the Lappy, which you may recognize from Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People, which, weighs in at a comfortable and highly portable 42 pounds, and has a battery, and has a long-lasting battery life of 1/2 of 10 minutes.
Oh, jeez.
And if the Strong Bad's Cool Game for Attractive People is to be taken as canon, then not only does it only have a 5-minute battery life, it only charges on weekdays. Lappy don't charge on weekends. Medium rare steak sounds good. Damn, I could go for one of those. Y'all are making me hungry, and I don't have money to get food.
Well, fuck.
I mean, like, fast food. I obviously have money for groceries.
Yeah.
But it's too late to get groceries now.
Right.
Because the local grocery store closes at 11.
And your time will be 10 to 11 now.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, the old graphics for this game, when I see those, I always thought they were bird-like, because of the way they were designed.
Yeah, I always saw those as beaks.
Yeah.
Welcome to Magic Crafters. I want you to release the dragons.
Release the dragons!
Eggs from those pesky blue thieves.
If No More Heroes 2 had taught me about steak, it's that well done looks like molded shit. You're not wrong. I mean, good on No More Heroes for No More Heroes 2. Like, as many missteps as No More Heroes 2 has due to the lack of direct involvement from Suda51, good on it for realizing that well-done steak is objectively the worst kind of steak. Like, I'd rather have like a tofu steak than something that's well done.
Yeah, I honestly, you know, that's the funny thing. I agree with you.
And tofu,
like,
stuff with the consistency of tofu makes me gag.
Yeah. Like, I may not...
And not in a good way.
Yeah, I don't eat, like, actual meat. The closest I eat to that is, like, seafood. But even still, it's like, I have a preference for how I like certain fish. I like it's like medium rare, basically.
I mean, if we want to talk about the proper way to cook a kind of meat, what you should avoid is this one Instagram post I saw years ago, where it was someone that was experimenting with cooking chicken medium rare.
Okay.
Chicken is supposed to not be cooked anything other than well done, because chicken cannot be served in different degrees of cookingness. It is either cooked or it's raw.
Right.
When you see arrows like these, you can charge along with them to begin.
I like the way my dad cooks steaks. He marinates them first.
Try it.
Oh, nice.
Marinates them with a Italian dressing.
Oh, nice.
He's very serious about grilling.
Nice.
This portal leads.
And yes, he does only use propane and propane accessories.
I remember. Dragon, earning my wings.
Learn to fly. Got it.
You know, there's something I could very easily say to you, Lulu. But I'm feeling nice today, so I'm not going to.
Oh, no.
Oh, I better not? Is that a threat? Is that a threat? Fine. So what you're saying is you like Nico's meat, huh?
Yeah. I can just picture the two of you being like, you know, just throwing insults back at each other. I'm just sitting here in the corner, popcorn.
I'm dead meat later? Good. Bold of you to assume I fear death. I don't fear it. I welcome it. I welcome it to try. Without getting too sentimental here, I'm going to say this. I have survived plenty of stuff that normally would kill someone, and not had any sort of lasting damage from it. And, like, I dare you. You want 1v1 me IRL. You want to have a go at it, bruv? You swear we argue like siblings? Yes, yes, we do. Except I don't argue with my sibling. Because we get along perfectly.
Which is honestly the best thing.
Hey, at least we don't treat each other like anime siblings.
I feel like there's a joke there, but it went over my head.
Oni-chan, what are you doing on the bed?
I don't think I want to know any further than that.
Okay, I'll put this in more Western terms since you don't watch much anime. What are you doing, step bro?
Oh no! Oh god.
Step bro, help, I'm stuck in the washing machine.
Oh god. Yeah. There's someone on Instagram and Facebook that I follow. She does similar jokes to that, actually.
This is the level that's broken in the Reignited Trilogy on PC. If you play it at 60 FPS. Very easy to fix, because you can adjust your frame rate from the pause menu. I shouldn't have done that.
Oops.
How much longer am I gonna spiral into oblivion? There we go.
Did you have a nice trip? See you next fall?
Worth it.
Not again!
Hey, I got the lives to spare.
That is true.
Not my fault. Someone put not a wall in the way. I gotta get this eventually. But yeah, this is the level that's okay, that one wasn't my fault.
No, it was not, but it's still fucking funny.
Yes, this is the level that's broken because you see these stairs right here?
Yeah.
Oh, they go like... Joke's on you, I love this song!
Never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
But yes, how, like, the wizard makes them go back and forth between stairs and a slope.
Yeah.
If you're playing this at 60 frames per second or higher, well, actually anything higher than 30 frames per second on the PC version, which is the only version that allows for higher than 30 FPS, the animation breaks and they just don't turn into stairs.
Oh, so they're just constantly stuck in the slope form?
Spyro,
Yes.
afraid of those big, noisy, gigantic
And,
beasts.
in the same level, how some of the wizards, like, raise and lower the doors, the doors stay raised if you're playing at anything higher than 30 FPS.
Oh, jeez.
And Activision never bothered to fix it, because with their PC ports, unless it's Call of Duty, they just kind of plop them out on PC and then call it a day. Hell, the PC version of Fall of Cybertron has a broken interaction in it that was never fixed. Have a good night, Shadow Dragon. I'm thinking I'm gonna call it a night soon anyway. I know, Discord's being fucky.
Oh, now I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. I wasn't talking.
Well, dude, it was like, the thing is, I knew you weren't talking, but the second I stopped watching the stream, I could hear something. I'm like, okay, now I know it's working on this end, but is it working on the other end?
I don't know, is it?
Apparently.
Are you sure? For all
Yes,
you
I'm
know,
sure.
this could just be an elaborate hoax.
Okay, explain to me. Explain
For
to
all-
my tiny. Explain to
For
my
all
tiny
you
little,
know, this entire night could have been an elaborate attempt to coax you into a snafu.
Nah.
I actually, did you know that snafu is actually a military term?
Did not know that.
Oh, thank you.
It's an acronym. It stands for Situation Nominal All Fucked Up. And the reason that the reason that specific phrasing sticks with me of coaxed into a snafu was like back when Rage Comics and Trollface were still popular. There was this one compilation image I saw where it was a bunch of people that tried drawing the troll face, but were just off very slightly, and it had like all of these very off, very slightly ways of saying you've been trolled, and one of them was you have been coaxed into a snafu. But that snafu algorithm, that snafu acronym is the reason why the animated series Private Snafu has its name. I wouldn't be surprised if you were not familiar with Private Snafu, but it was a series of animated shorts made during World War II, very different from like what you typically saw at the time. Because rather than being produced as theatrical shorts to be shown to the general public, they were made specifically to be shown to U.S. soldiers fighting overseas in World War II. So they were able to get away with much racier content than you would normally see, because they weren't being shown to the general populace.
Right.
Like, one example is,
Remember that these blue
like, one example is, like, there's a part where Private Snafu, like, takes a woman's bikini top off, and, she has bombs instead of boobs. And,
of course.
like, he, like, does the whole comedic, like, gulp, and he's like, booby trap!
God damn it.
It's so funny that there's no female dragons in the game. It gets even better when you get to Spyro 3, and it's the time of year where the dragon eggs show up from the entire male dragon society. Very progressive. Very progressive for the year 2000. Of course, they would introduce female dragons in later Spyro games made after Insomniac's tenure working on the series. But whether you count those as canon is very up for debate.
Right.
Especially the one that our first female dragons debuted in, Hero's Tale, which gave Spyro basically his own Amy Rose.
Oh, yeah.
In that she's a pink dragon who obsessively stalks him and believes that they're meant to be lovers.
It's time to burn the incense. It's time to slay the sheep. It's time to wake the Muppets from 1,000 years of sleep.
One of my favorites that I've seen of like a Muppets theme pun was it was this modded classic campaign for like someone modded Kermit the Frog into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh, jeez.
With Ryu's moveset and custom Kermit the Frog saying Ryu's special moves voice clips. And like, you know, in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, every character has their own unique classic mode campaign that has its own title related to like the series origin or the character. And for the Kermit the Frog one, his campaign is called "It's Time to Fight the Fights."
It's time to erase existence. It's time to banish light. It's time to call the void in on the Muppet Show tonight.
By the way, if you want to hear an absolutely terrible version of the Muppet Show theme, look up the cover that OK Go did. They tried to make it like downtrodden and like alt-rock melancholy sounding, and it just sounds horrendous. And they actually got the Muppets to appear in the music video for it, which makes it even more insulting. That's wasted on such a bad cover.
Yeah.
Make sure to save, because this is... Autosaving wouldn't be introduced until Spyro 2.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to end it tonight.
Okay.
Let's see, who's up for raiding. It might be Cloud, if we're looking
Yeah, it looks
at
like
things.
Cloud.
Yeah, Cloud. We're gonna raid Cloud. They're playing Ghost of Tsushima. So go give Cloud a warm welcome. I'll see you guys next time. And until then, unpleasant dreams.
Nighty-night.
Is it gonna be green this time? Why is it green?
Why the fuck is it green?